Emotional Productions. We make what you need.
We gotta fight.
We can do it if we want to. Don't let them tell us what we can't do. Cause we can change the world. And I believe that we gon' to. Cause we can do it if we want to. Don't let them tell us what we can't do. Cause we can change the world. And I believe that we gon' to. We can do it if we want to. Don't let them tell us what we can't do. Cause we can change the world. And I believe that we gon' to. Yeah, we can do it if we want to. Don't let them tell us what we can't do. Cause we can change the world. And I believe that we gon' to. Another kid at the multi, straight off the block. He got mad hops in a wet jump shot. Catch him at the top, point guard with the rocker. You can hit him with an alley, you consider that cop. Better get out the way or get dunked on. Everybody know about Marwin strong. Everybody know that it was him and Michael Jackson. Full court press with the tag team. What's going on, good brother? This is a prime example today, man, of things that the community just wanted me to bring to your attention. You know, we in Elgin Manor Apartments right now, man. And, you know, McGalliard Road is just not even a few blocks up the road. Right. And you don't see big holes in the street. They stay doing construction out there. McGalliard, Tillotson, the nice Ball State, nice areas. But we got the people who can't afford to buy wheels, man, and replace fenders and bumpers and rims. The poorest people who can't afford that, we need to help the most. And look at our street, man. Let's just stop at one of these, man. It's just like this your neighborhood too, but man, bro, you know what that do to your car to come through here at nighttime just making it home to your kids. To make it home, you got to go through an obstacle course. You know, so when we going, I just wanted to stop, man, and have some visual of that. You know, because I don't think like until people actually, the people who matter as far as lawmakers, they don't live out here. Right. They never see this. It ain't real to them. It's just our words when we complain. They think we just complaining again because we always complaining.
Right. Well, I want to make the difference. I want to make the difference where we can get our street paved. You know, there's one thing about my position where I'm at in my life. Is I really want to help people out, even those less fortunate. You know, because this is for all of us. You know, not just for the African American, not just for the Caucasian, but for everybody. And I think we all have a right to have our streets paved right and everything else. So that's what I'm gonna do as the city council at large.
Emotional Productions. We make what you need.
We gotta fight.
We can do it if we want to. Don't let them tell us what we can't do. Cause we can change the world.
Better known as Crosstown Slim, also known as DJ Dusty. Today, I want to thank you all for joining me first of all tonight. We have a very special guest for you, a personal friend of mine as well as a friend of the community of Muncie at large. He's a father and a mentor in the African American community, as well as an upstanding member of his church and his family. Ladies and gentlemen, I'd like to welcome warmly our city council at large, Mr. Marwin Strong.
How you doing, man?
How you doing, good brother? I got a couple of questions here, Marwin. I posted on my Facebook page. We got pressing concerns, man. Muncie it seemed like a base. It's my childhood home that I got to take great pride in. But it's such a sad state that it's been reduced to by potentially mismanagement, is what I'm thinking. The people who were charged to run this great city of ours ran it into the ground, in my opinion. It's time for somebody to pick it back up. And the people are dependent and counting on you to do this, but they don't necessarily know what it is that you do. So how we're going to start it is, I'm going to ask him a couple of questions that you guys posed to me in my inbox on Facebook. And after he asks these questions, we're going to do a formal interview of 5 questions that the people in the community will want to know, not just of you, but of any candidate that's running that wants their vote. You understand? So the first question that, and if I may, I can call you Marwin.
Yes.
Okay, the first question I'd like to ask you is selected from a Facebook inbox, and it's by Wayne Anderson of the south side of Muncie, Indiana. Wayne writes, Mr. Marwin, I am noticing a large eruption of gang activity in the black community. do you have any ideas on how to curb our youth from starting and joining violent street gangs? You have 5 minutes.
Well, one thing I could say, growing up at an early age, you did have gangs. You had gangs in Muncie and Holmes. You had the folks.
The folks.
You had the
Vice Lords, I remember them vaguely.
Yeah,
B.I. Love.
Yeah, you had a majority of those people. And those people are really was the foundation of a generation whirlwind that really crept into our youth today.
Like the 80s, really, is what you're speaking of.
Yeah, like
when the NWA and that mentality of gangbang, when that reached into the inner city in our small towns, through the TV and the radio. And
exactly. So it got all that. You also had the low end, the rainbow. But pretty much, so right now it's more from a standpoint. Now it have crept into our youth.
Okay.
It crept in our youth today, and so really what we got a generation thing going on here.
Okay.
Sometimes certain people get in gangs just so they can fit in.
Okay.
Some people get in gangs just because they want to be this quote unquote hard person.
Right.
And some
how can we? My real question I'm trying to ask you is, what can we put in place that really, as your job, can we put in place that will entice our youth in this direction as opposed to that direction? We have no community centers. We have a community center, but everything that we have, it seems like it's getting slowly snatched away from us. I'm saying, what can you personally suggest to the people in power in your position where they're listening to you to curb that, to keep us from going from the idle mind to devil's playground, to keep our kids from being in an idle state of mind when they're not in school? That's what I'm saying. Do you have any ideas, like programs or anything?
Well, if you got to think about this thing, a lot of people, especially my position, what I'm going to do, and I'll put my whole heart is, my main goal is about the youth. I grew up in an environment where drugs and violence was rampant.
The norm.
I could have been a statistic, I was just one of those ones that got out of it, changed my mind frame. But we could talk about gangs, we could talk about violence, but everybody I know from my heart, what is the solution?
Right.
One of the worst things they did when they tore down the South Side, you look at the statistic, how many people went to prison for drugs, how many people went to prison for violence, how many people have got killed because of violence. All that was from the
South Community Center.
But see what happens is, the worst thing they did when they tore down a multi-center, that was a place for a safe haven for kids.
Man.
And it hurts everybody. Now what you got everybody scattered on Willard. You got everybody scattered on First Street. And I see these things. So what do a youth have to do? There's no solution at this point.
Right.
So now the money's tight.
Right.
They say money's tight. But see, there's always ways to create things.
And that's my question.
And that's why it takes a community as a whole. It starts from the top down. Okay. It starts from those from the city council at large. It starts from the city council for the districts. It starts from the mayor. It starts from every government entity. We always got to have a safe haven for the youth.
Right. Or
there's going to be a recidivism of kids going back to prison, no matter if you're black or white.
Right. Okay, so it's not necessarily a racial or cultural issue as opposed to it's just a generational issue. It's a Okay, that's a good answer for 5 minutes because that was a tough question. All right, my second question here we have is from Midge Gwynn. And Midge writes, Mr. Marwin, exactly what is the city council at large? We want to know exactly what job we are hiring you to do and what qualifies you as better equipped to do it than the next guy. Now, I speak for the inner city, the South Side in particular. What is your relationship to that community, the South Side of Muncie? You know what I mean by Crosstown. Everybody understands that. And we notice that it's at risk, that we have a much higher rate of failure for our youth finishing high school and going to secondary education. We have a much greater risk for failure than anywhere else in the city. What is your relationship to that community to the extent that you could help where the next guy that's running couldn't do? What can you do? What type of special abilities do you have that make you fit to help our community to get our votes? Why should we put you in that office?
Okay, first of all, I like to let let the people know
5 minutes.
what a city council
Okay.
means.
Okay.
City council at large is just like we're gonna put it in a presidential setting.
Okay.
You know, you have the Congress.
Right.
You know, you have those in Congress, but then you also have the president.
Right.
So everything that the president does have to go through the Congress.
So he can't have what they call absolute power. Somebody has to check. You have to have somebody check what he wants to do even. The president ain't the most powerful man. The mayor ain't the most powerful man in Muncie then. He has a team.
You have a whole body.
Okay,
It's a body.
Okay.
It's a body of people.
So the city council is a body of people that the mayor has to consult on his decisions.
Correct.
And do they take a vote?
Yeah, they take a vote.
Now, city council at large then, what, is he sort of like the chairman of the city council?
It's 3 city council at large.
Okay.
It's 3 city council at large. We have a partial area that they
Okay.
give us.
Okay.
You know,
What is your area, by the way, that you would be running for?
my area is basically whatever we decide what we're going to run for.
I got you.
Yeah. So what happens is with that is that we take a body and that we it's one thing I must say is that one thing I want these streets paved.
Man. Okay. Don't even touch that yet.
Okay.
That's one of the questions I'm going to ask you.
And pretty much about the relationship I had with the South Side.
Can we have access to you is what I'm saying. Once you get in that position, can we still get access? And this wasn't Midge's question. I just had to relook at it. This was a second question on the interview. So I'm glad we touched it first, though. This is the first question, and let's lead into this. You told us what the city council is, okay? And you told us why you're a little better qualified, because that's really where you're from. You're from the poor inner city community. Correct. You know, so that's the relationship, and we understand. But will we still have access to you when we elect you and put you in that office, and when you don't live in that community?
Right. Well, I'll tell you like this. There's 2 words that I would use. Open policy. I'm open to anybody. I'm just a normal young man.